he actually uses one of the bugs, one of the Kudron's arms, and he slashes with it. There's a bow and arrow, I think, and so there's a lot of variation. There's a trident, like we see here, and also taking cue from when Jack was lost in the last finale season. He also uses some guns and stuff where we never would have him use a gun in the first few seasons. But a lot of the locales are totally inspired by what we did in the show. And so it's kind of great because if you're a fan of the show, you'll recognize the environments instantly, and you can kind of look forward to some of the villains from that environment. At the same time, we've also swapped some other villains to come in all the different various environments.
Nice. And you've got some familiar returning characters as well, I hear.
Yes, of course. I mean, you could never do it without the Scotsman, and here, of course, is Demongo, who's one of the fan favorites, has been. And what's also fantastic is we were able to use the original voice cast, right? I mean, besides Mako, of course, who passed away. So there's an authenticity to it that I think is sometimes, you don't get in other games based on properties.
This is awesome. Now, something I'm really curious about, this is developed by Soleil, which is a studio based out of Japan. Obviously, Samurai Jack is a Western cartoon heavily influenced by Japanese media and culture, and now you've got a Japanese team developing a game based on that. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship?
It's been really good. I mean, I think for whenever you do these things, it's always great if there's a fondness and appreciation from the team that's actually going to be doing all the work. If it's just all about money and they feel like they could take advantage of the name of the property, then it becomes kind of, they don't understand the essence of it. But I know, like Derek, who wrote this, he traveled to Japan and he met with them and he walked into their offices and they had Samurai Jack posters and they were asking about me, so they were appreciative of it. And doing, even I remember back then when I first started the show and it actually started to air in Japan, I was really worried. I'm like, oh no, they found out I'm a fake. They'll see through everything I've done. No matter how much of a fan or appreciation that I had of Japanese culture and especially the samurai code and culture, they would still know that I'm a phony. But so I remember I was at the studio once and we had some visitors from Japan, some of these cable operators. They were just businessmen. And this is years ago. And they came into my office and I was introduced to them. And Samurai Jack just started airing on their cable network. And they were like, you got it right. You did a really good job. We love the show and it feels sincere. And that was the biggest compliment I could ever get. That it was worked in Japan.
So cool.
It didn't. I didn't embarrass their culture or appropriate it or whatever. All that kind of stuff.
I love that. So now, obviously, like Samurai Jack has been around for almost 20 years, and people who maybe were watching Samurai Jack as kids they're now adults and they're out making video games and stuff. Have you sort of had any encounters with people working on the game who fanboy out and get completely overwhelmed by it, or is it?
A little bit, like it's more about in general. I think like you said, it's been around for so long. It's been able to influence a lot of artists going into video games and animation in general. And so when I go to conventions and all that kind of stuff, and I meet these people, when I was influenced by Bugs Bunny cartoons and Popeye and some Disney stuff. Tex Avery, and of course, by the time I got into the industry, most of them were all gone, if not all of them. And so I was never really able to meet any of the people who inspired me to go into animation. And now it's been pretty incredible. When I go to conventions, I meet the people who say, well, yeah, I got into the industry because of Samurai Jack. Or I love to draw because of Samurai Jack and all this stuff. And it's beyond comprehension that something like this can, affect people and really show them the direction in their life, which is so, it's such a huge honor to inspire anybody, really.
That's phenomenal. That's really cool to hear. Now, I have to ask, you mentioned it very briefly there, Popeye. Do you have any word on the Popeye movie that I heard you were working on at one point?
No comment on any of that stuff. So
fair enough. I had to ask, though.
No worries.
Fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Genndy. This was a huge pleasure. I am looking forward to checking out Samurai Jack Battle Through Time later this year.
Welcome back to Check Out This Game on IGN's Summer of Gaming, highlighting exciting, under-the-radar games worth your time. Strategy RPG Star Renegades has without a doubt one of the coolest looking pixel art styles I've seen in a long time, but it backs that look up with an exciting time-based combat system as well. Take a look at some exclusive new gameplay. Like what you see? Then head on over to IGN.com or YouTube.com/IGN to watch the full extended version of this gameplay.